I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the October 12th, 2022 meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. We have a quorum with 2 members on Zoom joining us tonight. The first order of business is a continued bit of business that's been on our agenda for some months now, a request for determination of applicability presented by Andrew Goddard. The project location is 12 Tupee Lane. We had continued this from our last meeting in order for additional information to be submitted. I'm told that that information is still not ready to be sent in to us, and therefore I believe Mr. Goddard has requested a continuation to our next meeting, which would be, let's see, 12 and 14, the 26th?
Yep. October
26th, 2022. That's the 4th Wednesday. Since we are waiting for that information, and it is information that I think is necessary to go on with the project, to go on with the case, I would be looking for a motion to continue at the request of the applicant.
I'll make a motion to continue this to the 10/26 meeting.
Motion
Second.
made.
I'll second.
Terry, seconded by Steve. Thank
there's-
you. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, hearing
I'm
none.
sorry, I'd just like to ask the staff perhaps to make sure, I believe we're waiting for a response to the response from the peer reviewer BSC group, and I think the email that we got earlier this afternoon indicated we might get that towards the end of this week. I would just ask that the staff perhaps put some pressure on them to get that to us on a timely basis, so perhaps we could bring this to a conclusion on the 26th.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion was made and seconded, and if there's no further discussion, we'll have a vote, starting with folks that are here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And our members online, how do you vote?
Aye.
1 aye.
Aye.
2
All
ayes.
vote aye, so that's a majority, that's 4. Okay, so that is continued until October 26, 2022.
Yeah. For those who just walked in, yeah, we just continued 10 Tupee Lane to the next meeting to get the peer reviewers' comments back.
We are expecting more comments, and can we make those available, Peter, as soon as they come in rather than waiting till just before the meeting? Okay, can they go on the website at that point?
Yeah, they'll be public records, so I'll send them to you guys. I have some of the residents' email addresses. I'll send them to them.
Okay, so there should be another document coming in, and it will be posted on the list of documents that go along with 10 Tupee Lane.
I'm sorry, I think you mentioned a letter of intent as well at the last meeting. You would ask him for a letter of intent?
We're not taking any action tonight. That's something that has to be voted on.
Oh, okay.
And we're waiting for further information before we take any votes on the project. So you should be able to see, we haven't seen it, and we all should be able to see it sometime in the next week, I would hope. They've promised us further information.
Just one question. Have we stopped putting the minutes on the website? The minutes
We
of the
what?
meeting? I haven't seen the minutes of the meeting since July come up on the website.
So I know the
I've
last,
seen the agenda,
The-
but the minutes haven't been posted.
I'm sorry about that. We're down 2 staff members, but I'll take a note of that and make sure we
Okay,
put them up
thank you.
tomorrow.
and the minutes from the last 2 meetings, oh, sorry, the minutes from the last 2 meetings have not been voted on yet, so they wouldn't have been put on because they haven't been approved yet. Yep.
There's a web link right here on the agenda of where you can get all our documents. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, so that will not take any action except for the continuance on Tupee Lane tonight. Moving along, we have another request for determination of applicability, which we continued from the last meeting, so that the applicant could join us here. The applicant is Jimmy Nuvong. The project location is 511 Princeton Boulevard. This is a request to install an 8-by-12 shed, and there is a floodplain, 100-year floodplain issue on the property. Good evening.
Good evening. This is Jimmy. I'm just helping him translate. My name
Oh,
is Hank.
okay, sure. If you could step a little closer to the mic.
Yep. My name,
The reason we didn't take any action last meeting was that we wanted a little more information about the shed, whether that was his final choice or whether he was just giving us an example of what it might be like.
oh no, it is his final choice. He's been making payments actually for 4 months already.
Okay, so, and we wanted to know what the construction of that shed was. What is it made out of? What is,
We do.
you know,
He has all the information already. I think he had sent that in. He ordered that from the. We have all the information. It's a. It's a single shed door, smoke slate, decorated paint, golden cedar, 3-tab, vented wall.
so the walls are some kind of plywood, or what is it made out of?
Plywood, yes.
Is plywood, do you know what would it be, like a half-inch thick or so?
It says the floor is 3/4 Town Grove flooring. Would you like a copy of this? Let's see. Galvanized steel.
Okay, so is that where you got the picture that was sent in from that document that you're looking at?
This is actually the invoice.
That's the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
From Home
Can you
Depot.
tell us about the foundation? How is it set on the ground? Is it on cement blocks, or how does it go?
It's on a 2x6 pressure-treated foundation.
Pressure-treated wood?
2x6 treated foundation.
Okay. All right, so the issue on this particular property is the fact that once every 100 years, or it could be 2 years in a row, one never knows, they call it the 100-year floodplain. So if a really, really big storm comes, this particular lot, the back half of it, is expected to be flooded. And that's why putting something like this in that area has to be looked at and come before us to have us decide if this is going to be a danger or a problem to put this in the floodplain. Now, in your opinion, looking at this, is this something where the water, if water came up, the water could enter this building without difficulty? In other words, it's not watertight, would you say, as far as flood water?
I don't think it'll be watertight, but it'll be very secure to the ground. I mean, the foundation will be very, very firm because we're gonna get it professionally installed by Home Depot, so everything will be
Well, actually, letting water in is a good thing as far as we're concerned.
Oh, is it?
Then you're not taking up space in the floodplain.
Okay,
If the water can come in if it wants to.
okay.
So
I mean,
I'm kind of assuming your door isn't going to be watertight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not, I wouldn't know anything about the installation part, but I would assume they would know how to do all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I tell you a little bit about why he wanted to get the shed installed there? Because he has a bulkhead as to go into the basement, and it's really hard for him to get all his tools like a snow blower, lawnmower, stuff like that out. It's easier to put everything in the shed because it's very steep to go into his basement.
Right. Okay, I think I have a pretty good idea of the shed. Does anyone want to ask questions? I know we did have questions, that's why we continued it.
So I guess my question, I'm not sure if you know the answer, is will it be, so usually it wouldn't just sit, the pressure treated might not sit right on the ground, or maybe that's how they're gonna do it. Usually you'd have a shed on a pad or on cinder blocks. Do you know if that's, because that does make a big difference too, because if they're putting a pad in, that's a tougher thing.
It doesn't say.
Okay,
It says single bottom plates.
yeah. So maybe it will
Right.
sit right on the pressure treated.
I would assume that there are cinder blocks put down, leveled, and then the 2x6s that carry the structure itself.
That's one of our construction guys right here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that purchasing a concrete pad would be something that they would have to do extra, and I don't think that Home Depot does that.
Okay. I mean, if we need to do it, we'll pay extra to get it done.
Oh, no, we wouldn't want a concrete pad, so that's,
I know.
Yeah. Some things we're asking about we don't want.
Yeah, okay.
And I think if you get something permanent like that, isn't there a tax issue too? If it's just on cement blocks, I think it's considered temporary. Is Kevin with us? He had some questions.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm not sure if I did have any questions, but
If I can, I think the two things that we're weighing are the compensation in the flood zone and the potential for buoyancy versus the fact that, we've got a neighbor who's already purchased a shed and has nowhere else on his site that it could feasibly go. We considered the idea of taking out parking spaces, and I can't imagine that that's permissible, right on the street. So, I don't know. I could use a little direction from somebody that's got a stronger opinion.
I believe when we had the map of the floodplain line, I believe it kind of bisects the lot, and the shed location is very much on the edge of it. I appreciate the fact that somebody from this neighborhood came in to check on this situation, because that's been our challenge all over the city, is kind of pop-up sheds going places that we had no control over. This one, we do have a little bit of an idea where it's going to be, and it does appear to be on the edge of the floodplain area. This actually would flood from Black Brook, I believe, rather than the Merrimack. I'm inclined to, we have no neighborhood input here, or, no narrative from anybody from that neighborhood of the situation with the water out there. I don't know whether there's a problem every year or every 100 years. I'm inclined to think that this particular shed is going as close out of the resource area as is possible on this particular lot, as you mentioned.
Yeah. I think with it not being on cinder blocks and then being right on the edge, having some of it, if not, what it looks like is some of this shed will actually be outside the flood zone with about, a quarter to half of it, maybe, if not a little bit less than that. But I think granting that designation would be an okay thing to do, a -3 designation.
Is that a
That sounds
motion?
reasonable, knowing that part of it is outside of the flood zone. It could just be the cinder blocks that are in the flood zone at all. That couple inches could get it out.
Yeah, just having that height at that point, I agree, Brad. So I'll make a motion to grant this a -3 designation.
With the, can we put in a condition there that it not be permanently attached to a foundation?
With the condition that it is not permanently attached to the foundation.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we
Aye.
have 4? Okay, I heard somebody. We have at least 4. So the -3 means that it is in our resource area, but we don't think it's going to negatively impact the resource. In other words, we wouldn't want a whole lot more put back there, but this particular one shed right on the edge of the floodplain, not permanently attached to a foundation, is not going to negatively impact the floodplain to enough of an extent that we would be concerned.
Okay. Is that approved?
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Where do we get the paperwork and stuff like
yeah.
that?
So you'll get some papers from the office,
Okay.
and you can continue. There is, I think there's a.
Thank you.
think
He's gonna be
could
very happy.
continue. You know what we've said.
Yeah, so the project's approved.
All right, thank
Go
you
ahead
very
with the
much.
shed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you.
We grab.
Good luck.
We send it to by mail. Okay, so we're all set. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Good night. Next, we have another continuation of an enforcement order given to S&R Corporation. The violation location was 204 River Road in Lowell. There was dumping, and this goes back to last winter, I believe. We haven't been too successful in getting this enforcement order taken care of and lifted. Is there anyone here from S&R Corporation this evening? Okay, so what would you like to do with this one? We basically, we want to be in contact with somebody. They had agreed to remove a lot of this fill, and that was the last we heard of it.
Yeah, and they were the first meeting we actually talked to them, they were very, okay with going in and doing that removal, so I'm not sure why we haven't heard from them again.
I'm not sure. I'm sure they're busy this time of year more than perhaps later in the year, but who knows? I don't know. They do construction all year round these days. Have you spoken with anyone? Has anyone spoken with them?
Dylan and I have both reached out, but I haven't heard anything, and I don't think he has either.
Let's continue this and unless you have another idea, what do you want to do with it? We could continue it out quite a ways, like into November perhaps, and see if we can get some contact going with SNR rather than just put it on the next meeting. 2 weeks maybe isn't enough to get something done.
I'd like to put it on the record.
After you, Brad.
I'd ask to put it on the record that we would continue 2 weeks, and that, you know, the consideration of fine will be placed at that time. I'd like to get this in the law department's hands if it needs to be done. It shouldn't sit there over winter. As it is, it's not going to be stabilized well. It's not going to be performed until November at the soonest.
I agree with Brad. I was going to say something similar along.
Okay. Do we want to have two motions then? One perhaps to contact the law department and see what our options are on this, whether we could proceed with fines on this particular enforcement order, since we've had no response.
I'll make
It's my
that motion.
understanding that
Go
you
ahead.
guys can find them. I can double check with like staff tomorrow. I don't, the lot of, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, hooray.
We're on your topic right now, so if you'd like to come up.
Oh, sweet.
Mr. Ricker a couple of times, but to assure him that I was going to be up here, but I was coming up from Boston. However, so first off, I wanted to apologize that it has taken us longer than what I would have liked to get everything completed over there, but we are, you know, we did in fact go back and take out several more loads. We shot the contours. I thought I was going to be able to overlay the PDF that Dylan had sent me of the GIS, I think, maps, but we took shots of everything. I emailed him and asked this question, but I guess I'd be happy to meet someone out there and basically leave the stakes in and show them the grades as compared to the GIS. You know, like what we have right, you know, to shoot, you can actually do, you know, like spot checks of the grades.
So you have older data that you're going to compare the new shots to?
Yeah,
And
yeah. Because what he had sent was a PDF, I can't get it to layer. I can print it two separate drawings, you know, one existing, I mean, one old, one new, but I can't get them to lay over or to layer, so to speak. So I mean, you can compare one against the other, but you know, I could do it any way you'd like, you know.
so
What
what is
program are
your,
you using to layer?
Sorry,
What
ahead.
program would you be using to layer?
I couldn't hear.
What
We didn't
program
hear
would
that.
you be using to layer?
If we use AutoCAD because we use a GPS system, and there is a program I think called Bluebeam that I think will put something on top of a PDF, but
You should be able to import a PDF into AutoCAD, and if you can't do that, you can convert it to a DW or to a image file. I'm forgetting the call
JPEG?
of the image file, but you can do that in Adobe, and you can save it as a standard image, and it'll be a lot lighter for Adobe. Adobe doesn't work, or AutoCAD doesn't work well with PDFs. They're too heavy for it.
okay.
I'm happy to make that conversion if that's all that you need to be able to compare them like right overlaid.
Yeah, or if you want to send it to me, I wasn't aware of that, so I'd be, I mean, if there's a way to, to convert the file and be able to get it in there, I'd be more than happy to do it. I would, you know, I just
If
didn't.
that's not something that staff can do, Peter, if you could ask Dylan to send it over and I'll make the conversion.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. So I did have a bunch of sets of the various pictures and drawings, but like I said, the drawings aren't layered, so I can leave you with the pictures and keep the drawings till I reformat the file and do the overlay.
Okay, so what's your expected timeline, once you get your drawings that you need, as far as removing some of this material?
We did.
You already did.
That's what
Oh,
I mean.
There's no more that you need to remove?
Right,
Oh, okay.
right.
I believe that we have to check to make sure it's the correct elevation, and then once we know that it's at the elevation that we want it at, then we need to stabilize and maybe seed, because I'm pretty sure it's only dirt as of right now, and it would be wise to seed before the winter.
Okay.
Did you happen to put in
Yes.
any kind of erosion control after you were done with the removal?
Yes.
Yes.
I was just going to ask, would you, to answer the other gentleman's question, the grades would be, if I'm able to layer it, the grades that I shot would be on the same drawing as the one that showed the previous grades, which would be like the baseline to compare it against. They would be on the same drawing at that point.
Okay, and so we just need to see that they are the same level as it was prior. And then once we figure that out, then we need to do some sort of stabilization. Does anyone else agree with me or have any?
I'd like to take a look out there, but we should be able to tell pretty well based on what he's proposing to show. I'd like to request the overlay once it's completed, and also the photos that you're passing around to be submitted electronically, so that we can see all those. If we're gonna just be reseeding, I don't know what was in that area to begin with.
I didn't hear the last
Should
thing you said.
Come again?
He's, yeah.
I'm not sure if there's anything additional to reseeding that should be required. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there were trees there or what was actually there before the.
You didn't take down any trees or anything. What was there? What kind of vegetation was there when you guys started? Do you know? Do you remember?
The typical, like, vegetative
Like
overgrowth.
Scrub and
Yeah, you know, something that probably too much for a weed whacker, but not a chainsaw, like you just have to use one of those brush hog things.
yeah, no, like really big. You didn't take down any trees or anything like that. No, you just put dirt down, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there was actually, I think in the first
I took that
meeting,
out.
there was some photos that showed the trees and stuff.
Yeah, you had put it up again. You had put some dirt up
There was
against.
dirt up on, yeah.
Okay, so we'll get that information about the elevations and put this on the agenda probably for our next meeting, or will that be too soon?
No, that's not too soon. Not very.
Okay. All right.
So I guess the idea is that we just reseed with grass seed, is I guess, or do we want like
I'll
a
do
shrub
whatever-
or something
whatever,
there?
whatever you folks like, you know, I mean, we can put we have like standard mixes that we use on the side of highways and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, if something like that is okay, then I could do that and then hay it or something for the winter. Does that work?
That sounds reasonable to me. What is the slope, the steepest slope here?
It starts out very gradual, and then, of course, as it continues down at its steepest, it's 2 to 1, but probably 6 feet.
What was the vegetative damage in that zone?
What do you mean to, like, those weeds and stuff that I described before, those all got filled over?
Okay. So then when you were removing the soil, they were removed entirely?
When we removed the soil, in other words, you could tell the difference when we got down to the hard stuff. But most of that vegetative stuff's gone now.
Sure. I think at a 2 to 1 slope, we may want to consider some landscaping in that area. I mean, grass.
There's a
grass
bunch
that's
there already.
stabilized
I mean,
will probably
it's
hold it
trees on
most of
both
the-
sides of it. But
Yeah, I just don't. I think we don't want to wait too long. We kind of want to get this done as quick as.
understood, yeah.
I also, I hesitate to spend any money or request that you spend any money planting things in a drought where, many of our programs have stopped planting due to lack of water. So I would say in essence of time that it's seeded and hayed as quickly as possible. I mean, I have to trust that if you're comparing, before and after, you guys certainly know what existing ground looks like, that we're going to be happy when we go out there. I think we should allow you to proceed, and that's certainly not to say that we wouldn't consider some additional landscaping to be addressed in the spring.
That's fine. That's fine with me.
I can be at a site visit on Friday. I don't know if that's possible or not, but I'd like to get this over with.
Yes.
Just a recommendation to Peter and to Dylan to, if you are gonna set something up, Fridays would be great, this one or next.
I can make myself available Friday. I think the early morning.
I could also be there.
Busy, but
I could also be there.
Okay, I can talk to Dylan since he's assigned to the project. I mean, worst case scenario, I could also go to a site visit, but yeah, I can be in touch with you guys and set that up.
Thank you.
Okay, so is there a motion that needs to be made here?
do you want to pick a time for Friday? Or? Oh, okay. Okay, okay. I was just asking. So you'll tell me after, like, yeah.
So I guess where we're at now is to continue to the next meeting and allow for the grass seed to be planted and you with the site visit on Friday. So we'll continue to the next meeting. Is that good for everybody?
Grass seeded and hayed.
It is, it's fine with me.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to continue this to the October 26th meeting.
Second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Steve, thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you so much for coming.
No,
We
thank you
appreciate it.
very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's it, right?
We have some new business. Brad, is this the committee that you are on or were on?
It is, yes, and I'd like to remain on it if possible, unless somebody else would like to step up for it.
No, I think that you being the continuity is good, so I'm fine with that. I'll make a motion to keep Brad as the designated member of the Community Preservation Commission.
I'll second.
I will second that
Seconded by
motion.
Steve, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so,
Thanks for your vote of
Brad,
confidence, everyone.
keep up the good
Appreciate
work.
it. It's been a blast.
Did you folks have anything that you needed from us before you leave? Okay, I know some of you came in later than others, but we have continued it to our next meeting of October 26th.
Yep, we're just waiting for the peer reviewer to have the response
Yeah,
back,
This is
so.
Tupi Lane. We're going to try to get that new information up on the website as soon as it comes in. Thank you for coming.
Have a good night.
Okay, we have minutes here of September 14th and September 28th. Do we have a motion on the minutes?
So I did look at these minutes and I thought they looked good, so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Seconded?
I'll
Second.
second.
Seconded by Steve. Any discussion of the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Seconded?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.
Aye.
Good
Have
night,
a good
everyone.
night.
Good night, guys.